An interesting week, a week where we have a lot of things. And this Thursday you saw the Minister for Finance and Treasury telling us the taxes we're going to pay. It's, let's be real, we're going to dig deep into numbers and discuss issues, and the light ones, the heavy ones, and anything in between. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno, alongside the beautiful ladies and gentlemen here.
Dr. C here, and I'm saying cheers for Kenyans. The winemaker, your rescue remedy.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, and you're being real. I'm just real. Like, Kenyans, we need to get real.
You need to get real over?
We really need to get real. We are going to talk about this finance bill. I don't think we are real.
Okay, Maria here. Maria Nyambane. I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to Let's Be Real. I'm an author. I run a kids magazine, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, Kagondo Jr. is here, a counseling psychologist who runs Mind Care Africa, and also an author of an award-winning book, Becoming a Man. You know, I'm very happy to be here today, and things will get better, just like fine wine. Thank you.
Becoming a man.
Yes.
And fine wine.
And fine wine.
And a fine one.
Very good.
Oh, yes.
So I think we need a wine because let's talk about this finance bill.
Yeah, that's why I called it your rescue remedy. Kenyans need to be rescued.
The Kenyans are being taxed left, right, and center. What is your take, ladies and gentlemen?
I have a question, because you're the one who normally knows these things.
Yeah.
I think so that, we need to raise, the whole idea is to raise money so that we are self-reliant.
Yeah.
But I need to ask, because I've not been so keen over the years, all these ambitious budgets we normally come up with, have we ever met them? Number one. Have we ever met them?
No, we have never met them because the shortfall is always there. Like this budget, the shortfall is around 900 billion, which has to be plugged by international donors and bilateral trade partners. And then this budget for this year is 4.2 trillion. We've gone down to from 4.3 trillion of 2022-23 budget. I think we have an ambitious budget, but we have to get very new ways of getting money.
So me, this is what I see. This is just what I see, and I've already seen it. People are just going to ground their vehicles, their motor vehicles, and not declare. So that means even that money you are getting out of fuel and petrol gone down. Yeah. So we are all going to crowd in the matatu. Yeah, that's what I'm just seeing. The other thing I'm seeing is I see the excise duty being put on all the beer and everything. Or beer is being reduced, but all the Makalis, I'm just seeing people brewing for themselves, their traditional brews in the house.
Busa.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, I'm just seeing that actually coming down. I'm seeing all the insurance companies. Already, I think one has already just started to shut that thing up. Isn't it? Direct, I think, assurance, just shut it down. Yes. So I'm seeing we are just shooting ourselves in the feet. But anyway, somebody had to do it. I think let us do it. Let's see how it will go. Because honestly, if we are to bring everybody, give everyone a safety net, then maybe we need to finance it. So let's see what will happen. Somebody has, at one point we knew it was going to be done, and let's see how it will be done. I don't know if the inheritance tax is coming also. It's proposed. People are going to organize themselves.
Yeah.
But me sina maoni. Because it doesn't matter what we say. Sina maoni.
2 minutes later, sina maoni.
It's true. Because it doesn't matter.
Maria?
Okay, I feel like it's like we are going from the dreams of we'll be riding Ferraris and then going with choppers. Now we are almost going down to Tutaendesha Punda because things are going low. Honestly speaking, the more you tax people, the more they find ways to run away from the tax, and the more they change their way of living. Right now, we are learning to survive the way we never knew we would survive. Because right now, we are knowing this is luxury, this is not luxury, this one I can do without. We are in the point where by now we are deciding, what are we living with? What can we do without? And the more we continue, because I know taxes will keep coming back, the more things will get worse. So right now, like you said, hauna maoni, mimi sasa nimehang hapo nikisema, I'm waiting to be pushed to my next down, while I go down and wait to see where the country is headed to.
Daktari, what is your take?
Nasikia daktari anasema hana maoni.
Yes, na amesema, na ameongea.
Lakini mimi niko na tumaoni kidogo. And this is a time when we get ill, and it's a reality check moment for us. Of course, people are not happy with decisions that are being made, and as much as we have to be self-sufficient, it calls for some tough measures, right? But now the challenge should be, are we going to benefit from all this? Because the moment we're having so many taxes, and it does not translate into, you know, the services that we get in terms of when you go to the hospital, there's no medication, you have to fly outside the country for you to get some health services, then to me it would be wanting, right? But if they can do that, and we're in a position to make our lives better, because I've seen countries whereby the taxation is quite high, right? But things happen, right? For them, healthcare is available. Talk about any other basic need they're able to afford. But that's not the case. And like Maria is saying, you know, Kenyans are quite crafty and quite smart, and they'll be very innovative in that particular case. But now the question is, do our leaders mean what they are saying, or what they do, or what they intend to do, right? And this is why I have a bit of an issue, especially when for them it's all lavish lifestyle, yet the commoner, the mwananchi, is facing a lot of issues. So to me, kuna wenye nchi na wananchi, and the question is, where do we belong?
So you know,
Tunaishi kwa nchi.
you know, I want to say something because I know you're going to sum up until we all shut up. You know, it actually reminds me of the communist era. You know, some of the strange stories you actually, because I was hearing the PS Health saying, oh, we are going to come and check your lifestyle, we'll investigate you, we will, I don't know what, until you pay your fair share of the shift.
Yeah.
While people want to pay, but I feel there's going to be a lot of witch hunting and all that. So obviously, I feel so that, like you said, people are going to get very, very innovative. The black market will thrive. Thrive. Like, I don't know why we would want to go, like there are wild examples. Why do we want to go there?
You know,
I think you've captured it very well. And I'll start with the black market. And the first, I've looked at this Finance Act when it's passed, and there are some various issues which need to really be looked into. And the first one is the proposal to increase excise duty on mobile money, which they said from 15% to 20%. You remember the Finance Act of last year reduced it from 20 to 15. And that one helped Kenyans to do a lot of trade. And there was a lot of financial. And the impact, if you increase it, is that the risk is that all the gains we got last year are going down the drain immediately with this one. And the financial inclusion, which is open to everyone, everyone will move to the black market. People will not send you money on M-Pesa because it will be too costly. And that one hits each and every one. So I think in the financial sector, the bill is actually giving us a very big disservice. You cannot increase that from 15 to 20%. You're just killing people. The second one I'll talk about is a proposal of, which people have talked about, of the motor vehicle tax of 2.5%. And this is just basically double taxation. Because you're paying, you cannot be taxed on the vehicle. You are paying for the battery. On kg, the battery of 10,000 will be 20,000 because a 5 kg battery will be approximately 20,000 shillings from around 9,000. So that one is killing people. You're double taxing them. You're taxing them on the fuel levy. You're taxing them the circulation tax. And then you're still putting. And this one, the motor vehicle tax, is also does not give us the fairness. The tax should be fair. Because they're saying that for people who their vehicles are the four wheels, you'll pay 100,000. If you look at 2.5%, it means the owners of Probox and the guys in Central and in Rift Valley who are taking their farm produce, they'll be paying more because 2.5 is so much expensive than a guy who's driving V8 paying 100,000.
Yeah.
So that one is basically killing small traders. So that is two. I've said we have 9 points which we need to really, Kenyans need to really look into. And the third one is the Treasury has continued to place tax burden on small taxpayers.
Yeah.
The big ones, we know every time they walk out free. So, and then they've proposed various taxes on financial services like VAT. That one will basically kill people who are trying to do small businesses out there. And then the fifth one is remove of bread from VAT exempt. Now,
I don't eat
immediately, let me tell you, bread is a very important factor in Kenyan households.
Yeah.
There are 10,000 schools, secondary schools. There are approximately 30,000 primary schools in Kenya. And out of those schools, they are boarding schools.
Yeah.
If you sit down and you tell teachers to start preparing nduma for all those kids, when will they give them food to do their breakfast? So bread for schools is a must. So if you increase it by 10 bob, even in schools it will be too expensive for kids who naturally depend it. Bread for us is for breakfast in schools. It's important. It is not only for households. And I think it is totally incorrect to increase bread prices by 10 bob. It will, normally we buy bread at 60, 70. Now it will go to 85, the small one. So you don't know how this will, the impact is that it will raise the price of bread by 10 bob. And then there's also the most important thing is about in the manufacturing sector where I know Dr. C is excise duty on spirits to increase. This is also another double taxation on alcohol because the products, it will make them so expensive and people will not afford to drink. So what does it impact? It will impact that what Gachagua has been fighting, the second generation,
Yeah.
people will go back to those things.
Oh, very well. Clear, like, oh my goodness. Yes.
So people will go back there and forget the wines which people had been drinking. You are trying to help people, and that what does it come with? Health complications again.
and then we have now to pay even more.
More. So then the worst of them all is the eco-levy, a new environmental tax targeting manufacturers and importers of 18 products. And these products, number one, I said the increase of battery prices at 105%, diaper prices for kids from between 28 to 30%, wheelbarrow tires by 143%.
So we need to buy wheelbarrows.
Trolley wheels, which you see,
Going higher than this.
trolley wheels up to 154%. Wheelchair rubber wheels.
Wheelchair.
Rubber wheels.
Wheelchair.
Rubber wheels. I want to
Shame
be
on
very
whoever
clear.
actually said that.
At 200%.
Wheelchairs.
And
How can you
dolly
do that?
wheels, which you use in, you know, if you go to hospital, those beds which people use, the wheels, will go back up by 20%. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that this Finance Act has not spared anyone. So if the wheelbarrow, the guys who are saying the other time singing for us that wheelbarrow, are going to pay 140% on the tires.
Character development, Kenyan voters.
And
Kenyan
then,
voters were
on top of
wakipata.
that, the increase of cement by 43%.
Wow.
No.
So you cannot even
So
build.
property, that's economic, what did they say? Affordable what?
Housing.
Affordable housing, so it's just what?
Yeah.
Oh no.
A smoke screen.
And now, let's get, now that's outside. Let's get to the house.
Again.
Inside your house, cooking oil, the prices will go very high. And these are the several tax proposals they put. 25% excise duty on crude palm oil. 25% excise duty on finished edible oil.
50%.
10%
60%
duty
now.
on plastic packaging of that oil.
So it's just going up by 60%, in other words, because
Eco.
they'll pass over.
Now, equal levy on plastic packaging, still on top of that, 150 shillings per kg, and import declaration fee to increase to 3%. What does that mean?
100% increase
That
in
means,
oil.
yes, 5 liters of oil will move from 1,500 shillings to 2,340.
Do we have a say in this?
Where do you have a say? I'm giving you breakdown.
This is formulated by
I am-
people who know Kenyans very well.
But
You understand?
Kenyans will just sit there, will complain, and we will
and
do
we'll
it
do
anyway.
That is the point.
Now, all these taxes, and the last one I wanted to say, lest we forget that affordable housing levy rate is still 1.5% of gross emoluments which you have. Social hospital fund is at 2.7% of the gross pay. New tax bands at the rate of 32.5 and 35%, and increase in National Social Security Fund contributions. Now, in short, if you're earning 100,000, you will take home only 30,000.
And you know, this is very sad, yeah? When you think about the whole thing. Because I'm looking at my grandfather back in the village,
Yes.
who has to pay 25% of the income that he gets from the tea that he plucks. Okay?
Yes.
Yet he has to, there's some additional taxation on the inputs and all that.
Yes.
And this tells you that our people will be so distressed. And I being in the psychology world, that means most of the people out there, they will undergo a lot of distress, contributing to the high rates that we have in, of depression. And you know, depression is one of the leading disabilities amongst our people. Yet, the hospitals that we take them for the treatment and all that, there's a whole lot of, you know, all this taxation in terms of the
Dolly wheels.
the rolling wheels and all that, the medication is not even available, telling you that eventually we are not going to have a people who will be in a position to pay these taxes. And this is where we really need to be mindful. And I wonder where all these ideas are coming from. Why? Because in one way or the other, they'll still come back to us, affecting us in so many ways.
You know, it brings me back to the Knight Frank report, the wealth
Yes.
report,
Yeah.
which said that in Kenya, out of 60, we have 55 million people.
Yes.
We only have about 7,500 dollar millionaires.
Yes.
And these are people with liquid assets worth more than $1 million. Now, it's very easy to look at Kenya and you think, oh, so people are so rich, people are, and that's why we've never been able to meet these budgets. Because what's going to happen is this. As an employer, and I can tell you, I've been very, in terms of even increasing my product or expanding, I'm just waiting and seeing, let's this year go. I'm not doing anything, just mark time where you are. That's what I've been doing. On top of maybe letting a few people go, remaining with a very core team. Because even when you look at the housing levy, when you look at insurance, there's what
Exactly.
you as an employer, you need to pay.
Yeah.
So I have seen a lot of companies actually laying off people already. So that's why I'm saying, honestly, I'm seeing this thing really flopping. And I hope I'm wrong, that they will need to quickly sit back and reevaluate.
Very true.
Because it's like, I'm not seeing it. Do you see it working?
You see, if it passes, it passes.
It passes, but the market is the market. People will ground their cars. I'll lock my car in the garage.
But you know, if
And
if
drive
it
around
passes,
with
my
if
little-
it passes, people will be, these people who are, you know, it's like, it's passing. If you are here, you are going here. So someone who was down there will not even have food, somewhere to stay.
see,
like they'll not even have a life.
You see, even those
Si ndio wajua
matatus.
wakifika
You see
ballot.
those matatus.
Wakifika ballot.
Those
Dr.
ones are
C.
free ungas you're normally taking during elections.
And pin pop.
Spit in their faces, take them, spit in their face, and go and vote correctly.
But now, the correct person you thought is the one who's letting you down. You know, it's not like when you vote them in, you expected this.
Listen.
The one who comes just lets you down.
That's why elections are in 5 years.
Dr. C, you see when you're saying that you'll park your cars and go into matatus, this fleet of matatus, all of them, they'll be charged that 2.5% at the beginning of the month.
That's why people will walk.
People
to
will
work.
walk.
Have you seen the number of people
nowadays.
actually walking?
Yeah.
They can't afford fare
They can't.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kenya has basically become a walking nation. Kenyans cannot afford anything to eat. Now they cannot afford the fuel, they cannot afford cooking oil, they cannot afford to send M-Pesa, which was the best thing for them, because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
If you want to send 10,000 shillings, you'll be charged so highly. You'd rather call that guy and give him 1,000.
But the CS said it's only 50, I don't know how many, 50,000 Kenyans with actually these cars. Anyway, moving forward, which is still actually related, as we are talking about this. Recently, the Deputy President, Gachagua, was seen carrying his baggage going to economy. He used economy. Was it economy or business?
No, he just used a KQ flight. It's out of
KQ
course,
flight, they did
business flight.
Business flight. Yeah, even I don't use business flight going to Mombasa here. And everybody's such an uproar that in Parliament, I was actually disappointed to see Junet Mohammed, saying that, oh, there's a budget for the vice president. Yeah. Why is he getting into a KQ? Is putting that office in ridicule. And all this, it was debated in Parliament as if he did something so wrong. An office bearer should not travel business class in a Kenyan airline. He should be going with a private jet, arrive with such machismo. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Yeah, so me, I'm going to comment on this one. I'm feeling really, really strongly about it. I will tell you something. I respect the office bearers. I respect the office of the deputy president, but also the office of the president. But I never thought too much about the person of Gachagua as a person. Because I believe the president is just the one making decisions. Yes, like for that person, I didn't care too much. But now I'm beginning to think, wait a minute. Okay, maybe he knows what he's talking about. For me, that was a very endearing image. To see that, wow, you can be like us Kenyans. And I'll tell you something. I don't think Kenyans would be feeling so much pain about this tax if our presidents, if our leaders, political leaders, would actually be living a modest life like the rest of the Kenyans. I am telling you, you travel in all these countries, like in Europe, you will never ever see such show of power because a PS or a minister or a president especially is going somewhere. You will never see it. I think they would be voted out completely. Tony Blair is very often, he used to take the tube.
Yeah.
He would just take the tube. Very often you're in Italy, you'd see that is this late president.
Which one?
This one who was partying a lot of the time.
Berlusconi.
He could be seen in the trains with everybody. These people just live with everybody else. They never show this power, which is why I'm just saying, I know we already talked about this plane thing. I think so that we should just arrive as we are. There's this president, was it Colombia, who decided he's not even going to move into the presidential house.
Yeah.
He will continue living his own house. I think if our political leaders just live a modest life, Kenyans will have no problem. The problem is they've become trillionaires just like that. Yeah, even 2 years are not over. They are living all these lives. You guys, do you think Gachagua erred? Forget the politics behind it. Did he err in taking an ordinary flight that the rest of us ordinary mortals take. No, and don't forget, most ordinary Kenyans cannot even afford to take a flight. That is still a very, very high life. Did he err in doing this?
First of all, no, Rigiji is always very interesting. Rigiji is playing politics, and he's playing politics of William Samoei Ruto when William Samoei Ruto was the DP. And he's playing politics of pity, politics of I'm the underdog, politics of see what they're doing to me. And it is not cutting, it's not washing. Because one, in that flight, Rigiji traveled with 14 security personnel, 3 personal photographers, 3 personal assistants. The KQ flight is a flight of 60 persons to Mombasa. So he took half of the flight.
Why does he need all that security?
Now,
if they were living humble lives, they would
now,
not need that
Because
security.
that's what I'm
he's
saying.
not safe in being humiliated.
No, it's not being, it's playing with the Kenyan psyche. It's
He's
like,
definitely
it's playing with
played on
Kenyan psyche, and for Kenyans to see, oh, our deputy president is suffering now.
Is that suffering?
if you
Taking
add-
a KQ flight is suffering.
If you add the 16 people plus 3 plus 3, that's almost half of the flight. On top of that, all his motorcade, the whole motorcade was on the road heading to Mombasa, which is using our fuel and tax, plus all the security and outbound, to wait for him when he lands. So for me, I find it is a cheap gimmick of playing a game of cards in political space, which does not sit well with Kenyans. And
That is the exact problem of Kenyans. Any Kenyans, you need to understand. These politicians don't need to show us this show of power and might and machismo. Why does he need that motorcade? Why do they need to drive across the other side of the road? Because there's, like, why? Why do they need, because they are carrying around too much money and power. Why are they scared to be with the rest of us Kenyans? Why do they need all this security?
He did not need the security.
Yeah.
It's because he was using a common KQ flight. He did not feel safe.
This is the beginning of the problem.
With the motorcade now
It's not-
following ahead.
It's not about safety.
What is it about?
It
To
was
show
not about
power to
safety.
who?
It's not about power. It's about playing the psyche on Kenyans to see that he's being humiliated,
But why
which
the
didn't
photographer?
wash.
No, but you need to use a local flight is humiliation.
No, I
like
would
any
like to know
Kenyans, we
why
need
the
to think about
photographers,
this.
So why the photographers?
They can get hustlers who go in Mombasa to take the photo. You see, this is the problem. Kenyans need to start. Aki to how to finance bill iende through. We get back to the root of the problem. Why do you need to show so much might and power?
You know,
Why?
Rigiji is playing comedy. For him, it's
No,
playing
you
comedy.
see, you know, when you argue like this, this is the first initial problem. And then mukienda kwa ballot mnacheza. And then you're now asking, your finance bill petition. If you don't see a problem with the fact that Rigiji getting into a local Kenyan flight, you guys are seeing as if he's asking for pity. What is pity there? There's no pity.
There's no pity because a lot of Kenyans have never even used a flight.
Yes,
A lot
but the
of
way
Kenyans
you're
have not.
arguing, thinking that
But
it's a
you know-
political gimmick to use a local flight, petition your finance bill. Kenyans, petition.
But you know,
Petition.
it is true because
no, it petition.
initially we were told hustlers will have a better life. So Rigiji has started
But with
trying
people,
to show you that.
Rigiji is just one. Imagine all these people showing this machismo and power, and you guys have no problem with that. That you think it is cheap to use a Kenyan flight as a political somebody. We need
But
to
you
rent
know,
flights.
because the others have shown us that we use private jets. We use
So
expensive
you are
flights.
okay with that?
So right now, this one is showing us
Paka
that I
mupitisha
am
finance
humble.
bill, mu finance private jets. Petition your finance bill.
Anyway,
you know,
let's
the
let's
point
listen
is-
to Daktari.
Sorry? But are you seeing?
Very true, and I agree with what you are saying. You know, all these are sympathy, games that he's playing.
Yes.
He's
But
not agreeing with that.
the problem
No.
is us.
The problem is us.
The problem
yes.
is us as Kenyans, because we allow all this to happen, okay? And until we get to know how much power we have on our hands as a people, then this can change, right?
Yes.
And
But
this is
Dr.
why.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
We have power. We had power, housing passed. We had power, now finance bill is passing. We have power, taxes went high. We still have power, and we are suffering.
Yes.
Waiting-
Because
And this
you're
is
okay
why-
with people taking private jets, because it is
We've
shameful
never been
to
okay. We
get
just don't
into
have a
a
say.
law.
Just
You
like
have a
with
say at
finance
the
bill.
ballot. You have a say.
5
You
years
have
later.
a say.
5 years later.
You have a say to hold your accountable. Like honestly,
C.
yes.
You know, you are very, and we listen, we've heard you. You are very correct in what you're saying. What you are saying is that, and Maria is not saying that it's pity, we are saying these are political con games going on.
Yeah.
And political con games, this is how it is played. And it is played, and I want to give you a background of how this political game is being played. This thing is not that Rigiji was saving you any cost, and it is not a pity that is going with KQ. That is not besides the point. The point is, I have a political base. In Mount Kenya, I want to galvanize it. I want people to see that I'm suffering from my base so that they can be behind me. I have a new slogan. My new slogan is,
One man, one vote.
no, the villager.
The villager.
The hustler worked for. I want you to understand that Rigiji is actually running his campaign the way William Ruto ran his campaign.
But we learned. If
And
the campaign
William
is coming
Ruto,
like that,
when Gado drew that cartoon of Ruto in a hustler jet, Ruto took the hustler narrative. Rigiji has taken the fact that people say that he's a villager, and the villager narrative is running around. And what is he doing? He's going now a step further to show people that I'm this villager who is been denied. The other week he complained that he's been denied the choppers.
Yes.
He's being denied transport. He laid the ground in the Makorino in Nakuru saying he came late because he could not access the venue. So now he wants to show Kenyans, since the president went a private jet, the villager has arrived in a KQ. But the fact is, the cost of the people traveling in that KQ with him is equivalent to the cost of a chopper flying him to Mombasa. And it's still even expensive.
Can I say something? Yeah. The problem here, let me know. The problem here is not what Rigiji did. My problem is how the members of parliament have reacted to it. The fact that using a KQ flight is ridiculing the office of the vice president. It's a ridicule. My problem is the reaction that the people have had.
I think what Junet said,
Yes.
Junet was pun intended.
oh yeah, so
Whatever that means.
Junet was, you elected these characters, you wanted to show us that they were good. Now they have a war in their own house. So it's just to make sure. It's like I'm laughing at you and I'm trying to say, oh, why? You know, Dr. C cannot go in a matatu, but I want you, and I'm just laughing inside. It's pun intended.
let's stop there because this is not going to end. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back on Let's.
Inside here, Dr. C is on fire.
Yeah, me, I'm on fire because Tujamaliza, we are coming back with the same story.
Okay.
No, I think
Oh, yes.
if you Kenyans cannot see the problem with the way our members of parliament and our leaders have reacted to Rigiji taking the local plane. My problem is not that he took it or whatever political problems he's trying to solve. Hiyo ni mashida zao. I don't care. Those political problems. for as long as you have no problem with this show of power, that somebody needs 200 people to guard him. I don't know how many things to follow him. Yes. If you cannot see the problem with that, imagine it's okay to have this finance bill passed, because until you see that problem is when you really see the problem with this finance
Before I
bill.
introduce another story, I'll tell you one thing.
Which
Even
story?
if you've seen the problem, there's nothing you can do.
Oh, you see, that is the beginning of the problem.
No.
That you think there's nothing you can do.
We
And
can
then
always
these
do it
people
in the
come
ballot
to,
next
and
time.
then
But
no,
right now, there's nothing
these
you can
problems
do.
have always been there. They've always been there. That you have a politician who has refused to repair the road, driving, they think they have better rights than you. The whole traffic stops for 3 hours because I don't know who needs to pass. Business is not happening.
Actually, our roads
That
are
is a
becoming
problem.
bad. Our roads need to be corrected, right? At this point.
It's a really big problem. The problem that, you have, I want to ask maybe the viewers, and I think they need to respond. You have this couple, for example, throwing these, say a wedding, I don't know with how many millions, say it's costing them, say 100 million, they're throwing this big party. And you know very well they don't have that money to throw that party. And you know very well after that wedding, they are going, in fact, to move to a house which they've not paid rent. They are going to be thrown out. They are going to be asking you to pay for their health, I don't know what. This is the same thing. We have jets being rented, which is equivalent to the wedding. We are, I don't know, going to impress who doesn't even care. They know we are poor. We are even going to borrow money. We have our leaders coming to us, driving, showing machismo and everything. Shida ni nani? See, you are the people who attended that wedding party.
And this
Wenye
is why-
mko shida.
this is why-
Mkatae parties kama hizo.
We really need to appreciate that such gimmick games that we see with the politicians, it's also a way to divert our attention into the real issues that we have. Because when we get to hold such conversation, now we are talking about the villager, Rigiji, flying through KQ, we tend to forget about the financial bill and we can't discuss matters that are really affecting us. So we really need to be present and be awake, and especially with the issues that we are facing. And no wonder we are saying that we have the power, and especially to make decisions on leaders who can be able to, make the right decisions, and especially through the ballot, all right? So the thing is, they'll be coming back with some packets of flour. They'll be coming back with some, handouts, and we still bring them back to the seats and continue suffering. So the thing is, we have the power, and we have to awake.
Exercise the power.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah, our power will exercise.
We have to start spitting at these politicians, knowing like they are living a big life on our account.
Yeah, let's go to a lighter story. This is not actually light. Back to politicians again. So a politician goes to a burial, and then the pastor finishes everything, the proceedings and everything he was supposed to do, and then tells the mourners to go away, leaving the politician to speak. Like, Terry.
It's very sad, and especially when you see the same politicians that we complain about, tending to occupy the larger space, and especially in such a matter that is so close to our hearts. And I've seen so many of them denying the families to actually mourn their loved ones, to even participate in the burial process. Why? Because for them, they have an agenda that they need to pass, okay? And I recall 2012 when there were some directives where we need to arrest politicians who tend to play those political games in funerals. It's just a show of how inhuman and detached from, things that really matter to the local people. And that's the politicians for you. And this is why, as a people, we really need to be very careful with the kind of people that we are. And I want to salute that pastor, who says, we are not going to give you an opportunity to drive your political agendas. Why? Because you have a matter at hand. And I've seen so many of them complain, even denying the handouts that we see them, dishing out to the pastors that welcome them. And this is just a show of why we are saying that we have so much power on our hands. But it's very sad because in such a moment, this is a time when we really need to be in support of such a family going through such an ordeal, encounter losing their loved ones. Yet, as a politician, I want to come and, drive my political agenda. So this is why I feel the pastor, they should continue doing the same and denying these people, such platforms whereby they are going to drive agendas that do not really pertain to the needs of the common mwananchi.
And what is annoying about that story actually is that they came and they started to heckle everyone.
Yes.
They started to heckle everyone. And I think this is an example of we need to take back our power. These politicians have turned us into some ridiculous something. But I think Kenyans at the grassroots level now knows. They know. I don't think anybody is even lost in any way. The character development we are having in the last 2 years, I think people know. At one point, there's going to be change. And the change begins with that.
Oh, yes.
I feel like they should choose the crowd they are going to speak to. When people are mourning, that is the wrong crowd to go and start raising your stories, giving your agenda. That time is not the right time. But there are some pastors who are paid and then they allow them to come and speak. Please, that is not the right place for you to come and speak. And I know you will start the story with, he was very an important person, that's why I'm here. No, it's the wrong place. That and also a wedding. I don't think I would like anyone to come to my wedding and start giving their agenda.
Okay, I come and let a check.
That's something there.
That is a happy time. Mwambie alete check. Kwanza alete kwanza niangalie. Yeah, because they pay to have crowds.
But don't pay for monarchs.
No, listen, they pay to have crowds.
Yes.
So now the only difference is that as a couple, our newly wedded couple, they pay you to go and use that money. And honestly, to say the truth, I think mourners should start asking for money. You want to talk at this? Pay for the funeral, isn't it? If the money, they have to pay to be allowed to talk.
But they can talk and you're there sad and you're listening to them for hours and hours and hours with their motorcade and...
So, if I was living in a village somewhere, I would organize myself. Na vijana msikize, as agents. As agents of, there are people in the village there as agents. So you're the ones who collect money on behalf of anyone who is bereaved to allow someone to talk. Kama wajalipa pesa za kuongea, na wanapatiwa time. You want to talk for 30 minutes, ndio hii red card.
That's the tariff.
Ndio hii red card.
Seriously, you are not going to be doing business in someone's last respect.
Why not? Because if we are going to be fundraising for funerals, these politicians may as well pay.
Ask them to pay for the funeral.
But I think
mi naona walipe.
what has happened is that poverty is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
It's poverty because politicians will always go where there are poor people.
Yeah.
In rich families, politicians don't even go to speak. In fact, they're not even welcome. And if they go there, they pay their respects and do not talk politics and move on. I think poverty is our biggest problem. If we empower our people properly, then these politicians won't hold sway onto them that much. Because the first thing, remember, when these politicians come, even the owner or the bereaved people do not know the politician is coming.
Yeah.
He comes with his goons. And if you try to stop them, they will rough you up completely. So
Sure.
it's lucky that the pastor knew and played a game before the goons. And I'm not sure even if that pastor walked out of that place very safe.
I don't think
because the goons, the politicians walk with. And some of them are on borders. Will even beat you up if you stop there because they are selling. They are the people who control the politician. They'll tell you there's a funeral in this place. You will speak. You cannot deny them that chance. And if you refuse, they attack you. So politicians have taken funerals as the only way they can get captive audience. And that captive audience, that's what they have been doing. And on top of that, if you look at the money the politicians contribute in those funerals, I don't think they contribute more than 10,000 shillings. No. They don't. They always make sure they have someone is bereaved, send 10,000, which is not equivalent to what they're going, the damage they cause.
That's why we need red cards. And the fact that these politicians can just actually disrespect mourners and disrespect actually the electorate in this manner, it is a signature of something that is really wrong. I think this finance bill needs to be passed. Kenyans really need to suffer.
Let's move on.
There's something you're forgetting, Dr. Sibe. Then there's something I've realized you're forgetting.
What?
We are going to have more poor people. So there are more controlled people. more controlled people.
You mean they are going to be more vulnerable?
Now they are going to be more vulnerable. Now someone is going to come.
Not
with
when
cheap,
you
cheap
know-
politics
not
and
when
give
you
you
know
small
you're-
man. Dr. C, you're talking from a point of privilege.
No. Because what does privilege earn you anyway? We are going to be in the same shit. So did I say that? Editor, Ebu, Nini, Sikusama yo, children, Sikusama yo. I'm just saying. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that for the longest time, that our taxation system has been targeting a few people, employed and all that. So, and the people who are mamambogas and everything, those wheelbarrow pullers, they were being left out. Wacha waanze kufikiria.
Actually,
Let them start feeling so that they understand this is not a rich man's problem. Ni shida yetu wote. Mwenye anakuja anakuletea paketi moja ya unga.
Actually, the problem has not been the people at the bottom of the pyramid. The problem has always been the middle class.
the middle class.
Because the
That
middle
doesn't
class, they do not vote, they do not want to change in policy, and they do not actively involve themselves in
Now
matters.
comfortable.
And that's why,
Now
and that's why we are here, not because of the people who are down there. The people down, the bottom of the pyramid have always actively
Done their part.
done their part.
Yeah.
And that's why, because if you are in the middle class, some of us do not go and tell them, and we have relatives at the bottom of the pyramid, we do not sit with them clearly and tell them, actually, this is the wrong path. So then they take that thing, the power in their hands, and they vote. Then the middle class, all of them, sit at home and wait and watch results on television.
So that is the voting. What about the tax? The tax.
Because when you vote the people in, and these are the people who the middle class didn't vote for, didn't verify, they go there, they don't know, they know that they'll just please the bottom of pyramid and they'll increase the taxes.
So,
Let's move on
okay,
to...
We are talking about taxation. These wheelbarrow pushers, have they been paying tax?
You see, the wheelbarrow pushers have not been paying tax because it is very difficult for government for a very long time to get away of putting them into the tax bracket.
So that's why the wheelbarrow price is going up by 100%.
Okay, let's go to the next story. The next story, lecturer Zipia Court says that we are raising weak men by overworking the girl child. I think this is best for you to start.
Yes, and I know there has been a whole lot of debate in this regard, where we complaining that we have in weaker men in the society, you know, and when they tend to show their emotions and they tend to be in touch, you know, with what is happening present in their families' lives, we call them sissies, okay? And the challenge that we have in here, and I appreciate what Dr. Zippy is talking about, we really need to be very careful, and especially where we draw the line in terms of how we nurture and you know, model this young boy. Okay, you know, in the society there's and in fact I've captured that in my book, Becoming a Man, the roles that we have for every other man in the family, in the society, and one of the roles is being a propagator, and this is where we say that they instill the right culture into the kids, into their people. They determine the direction that we take, and I've seen the absence of fathers, men in the boys' lives, you know, contributing in a very big way into this thing that we call the identity crisis. Why? Because in an ideal situation whereby I don't have somebody to guide me through and work with me by telling me this is what I need to do, this is how I'm supposed to conduct myself, then there's a whole lot of trial and error. And this is why you find that some of the young men, they are conducting themselves as girls. Why? Because they have been raised by mothers, okay? And they learn how to conduct themselves as ladies, all right? And this is just a show of the gap that we have in the society. You know, that C is looking at me like, are you for real? Okay.
What do you mean conducting themselves as girls?
Yeah, they tend to model or even, you know, play roles in regards to how women conduct themselves. Mind you, I'm not saying it is wrong for a man to support in the household chores, okay? Say even serving or even cooking for the family. I have no issue because I tend to do the same. where I come from. But we have a tendency to have some role confusion and identity crisis. And this is one of the main contributors to the many issues that we have, and especially in the society. Why? Because when the man is not well balanced, the man is not playing out their role in the right way as a provider, as a protector in the family, then we have issues. And this is why we're saying that we really need to heal the man. But now the question is, how do we model this man to be a man enough, a man who is of substance, a man who we can say that is of high value? And this is why, as much as we complaining that the boy child is not really being involved and taking part in the house chores, we also need to be very careful, because there's a very thin line between having a man who is responsible and a man who is really confused in how they conduct themselves.
But sometimes we pamper them so much. We like, don't do this, just stay at home. I will not send you to the shop. Because of that, they lack the problem-solving skills. Actually, that is one thing they lack. So they run away most of the time. And that's why you're saying that there's no father figure for children.
Yes.
Another thing is, when you look at the suicide rate, they say that there's a higher suicide rate in men because they don't speak the emotions, they don't share. Remember, these people have not been raised whereby there's a problem. You are pampered and grounded all through, and there's this sister of yours who was supposed to take care of you, make sure you have food, make sure that everything is running in the home. Now you cannot compare the two. I tend to understand with the lecturer because if people, you learn, whatever you learn is what grows you. You don't just grow by the knowledge you don't have.
I agree.
You need that knowledge for you to grow from it.
I agree.
So you find that if you gave this person the softest, look at even, not just men, even ladies. If you are raised in a position whereby provided, given, everything happening to you, that's when you get to college and then you are alone, and then you realize I still need the soft nurturing and the softness that my parents were giving me. So you will go to sponsor. That's what they do. So right now, I feel like giving these men all the roles to run, because your wife will go to maternity one day.
Sure.
You will have to cook.
Yes.
Your children will need you to drop them to school. One day, your wife will get, because right now, women are so empowered. They work, they can work even and travel and leave you with the children. We need you to step up. So I don't think, for them acting like girls, that's a different thing, because,
Exactly.
But I feel like men should also learn every role there is, and also learn to be tough as men, because they're supposed to provide and protect, and that is never changing, so that at least we can reduce even this depression thing. If you go to you are a therapist, right? The first thing you tell them is channel your energy somewhere, right? These people don't have anywhere they're channeling their energy. What do they do? Depression, suicide.
I agree with
That's
that.
what
I agree.
They should go to the village homes.
Yes.
What I want to say something scientific. But before that's something scientific, I want to say this is the Men's Health Awareness Month.
It is.
Now, if you watch The Real Housewives of Nairobi, you'll see me there with my father.
That's
Nakoroga kabisa kiluya nakoroga. And we talk about health issues. And because I'm a primary caregiver to my father. And so health is something that is featuring quite a lot. And one of the things I want to say is that one of the reasons, we ask men, kangumu kabisa kama mwanaume. And that is breeding a problem. Breeding a problem in the sense that men are not even free to discuss with their daughters what health problems they may be having.
Sure.
Yeah, and that in itself is a problem. That wanakaa ngumu kama wanaume, and they are not able to talk their feelings.
Issues, yeah.
And this is why they are not even, they are not able to ventilate, and that's why there's high suicide rates, there's high depression rates. Wanakaa ngumu hivyo, they are less likely to seek medical help because natakana wakae ngumu kama wanaume. So that thing, banish it, just be you. Yeah. As a human, look after yourself. This thing of kangumu, life has changed. Secondly, I want to say this. There's a lot of single women.
Okay.
A lot of single women actually trying to raise men. The advice I would give is that try and get someone who can role model, who can be a father figure. But even that said, the final behavior of somebody is actually the brain. The brain, there's a way at month, is it week 6? when a child is developing in a woman's womb, scientifically, you can check on Google, you can see how a child developing as a woman in the womb, the nerve cells in the brain are everywhere, going everywhere. For a man, they reach a place where they are arrested. And then there's what we call the pituitary gland that releases the testosterone flash. So if you don't get the fetus that does not get the testosterone flash, you can even have the brain of a man. No, the testosterone flash is the one that stops the development of the brain, and the brain becomes a woman's brain. There are men, when they were developing in the fetus, as a fetus, they actually never got the testosterone flash. So yes, they have the men organs, but their brain is that of a woman. So they will behave like a woman. It's very scientific. Yeah. What we need to do is to acknowledge the humanity of these people, of the men who are behaving like women, accept that they are humans and accord them their human rights. Okay? If we just accept that they are humans, they have human rights. And then there are women who actually get a testosterone flash. So they have female organs, but they think like a man. So if we accept they're human, so that's a completely different topic. Third one, animalize. The problem of pampering children is a very millennial problem. Yeah. Some of us grew up in poverty, and we are determined that our children will never even speak our mother tongue, will never walk to school, they'll never even walk without shoes. Me, the whole morning I was walking without shoes. From my house and even to my daughter's school, I came out without shoes. They will never go hungry. Okay, hungry is another thing. They'll have clothes that we'll even just throw away. That is a problem. We are over-providing and over-pampering our children. It's a millennial problem. We are compensating. It's a parenting problem, and it's not just to the boy child, it's also to the girl child. Nimemaliza yangu.
I think, and I think you've captured it very well, Dr. C, about overcompensating. Eh? And it's a big problem for many parents out there. But my problem is that when I look at the current situation is that the parents today had a system where they operated in. There was a very strong cultural background where they came from. And culture dictated how you are supposed to behave, how you are supposed to eat. It was a crime for you to walk into the house past 8 o'clock as a teenager, and if your mother had cooked and people have eaten, utalala njaa. Yes. By the way, there was no single day you'll come at 8 o'clock and say, I feel like I don't want to eat now. I will eat later. In whose house? In whose
eat
house?
With everyone there.
Food was served at once. If you miss, you sleep. What did it offer? It offered community, and it offered a way of thinking and development for men. Yes. And the cultures were so strong, and the parents would tell you, I will not. He would just look at you, and you know this man, he will not say anything. You'll go and act accordingly. But nowadays, what has changed is that we want to overcompensate for our kids. You'll ask your kid, what do you want to eat? And if he doesn't feel, if he eats half a plate, the rest you go and throw off. If your father would have seen you throwing food, he will remind you of many people who are starving.
Yes.
So culture has degenerated completely. So now these weak men is at a point where we have lost that identity. We do not know whether to be a modern society or to follow a few things we were taught by their parents. So they come in between where there are two different kind of worlds. A whole modern world and the parents who suffered in a traditional setup. You remember, circumcision was a community thing. At a certain age, boys went for circumcision and they were picked, all of them together. Nowadays, you circumcise at birth or in 2 weeks and there's no education. So these boys have lost a lot of initiation projects which was not offered by the father and mother, but by the community. And that's why people nowadays find themselves in a space where they do not understand how to behave, how to react, and how to live with one another. Even women were told on how to take care of their homes. They were taken to their aunties, and the aunties would teach them how things would work. But luckily enough, women have, there was a lot of empowerment programs for women. They have managed to continue working and doing better. But the boys, they lost the initiation rights. They lost the culture which was giving them a perspective, and they lost, and most of them come from single mothers, because most families today is a single parent family. Actually, around 40% of Kenyans nowadays is someone who is raising a kid, a woman or a man who is living alone and providing from afar. So there's no that family setup where both parents are there. And that's where we have a big problem.
And I love the
Parenting
points.
country.
Yeah, I love the points by the CEO. And as a community, as a family, we have seen a lot of such, impacting the lives of these young fellas. And in fact, a mother is very crucial and very important in the life of every other boy. And, a mother will turn a baby into a boy, but the boy needs a mother, and in this case, the father figure, to turn the boy into a man. And that tells you the importance of men in the lives of these young men's life, okay? And unfortunately, we live in such a time where even the men themselves, they're really confused, and they really don't know how to play out the roles in the right way, okay? Which is quite a big, undoing for these young fellas. When you talk about the changes in these transgenerations, and especially the patterns that you have seen, remember hard times, they make very strong men, okay? And unfortunately, these strong men, they make it easy for these kids. And no wonder we've seen the weaker boys, the weaker men coming up in the society, where we have those cases whereby there are no men or father present in the lives of these young fellas. And it should not be a reason why we should continue with the same practice. Why? Because I believe in the same families, we have responsible uncles, if not bigger cousins, who can actually step in and support these boys to really come out as men who are really responsible and up to the task that they are given. So it's actually the responsibility of us all as a community to come in and stand into the positions where we don't have, say, the father figures in the picture. And I've seen this, and this is where we need to borrow from African culture, because there was no, and in fact, there is no child without a father. There's none, all right?
None.
And this is why I should take it upon myself when, say, my sister is not in her marriage, I should actually come in and support her raise the kids as a father figure in this particular case. And this is why I feel as men in the society, we have actually done quite a lot of damage, and especially where we don't show up, for the members that we have in the family setup, in the community setup. So every other boy, they need a man to bring out the man in them. And this is why it should be a collective responsibility for every other person. So Dr. Zippy is right. And we really need to support the boy child to be a holistic, wholesome person, who can be able to perform all these roles in the right way. But of course, get them to be men of substance, men of value in the right way.
Wow.
Right. I think you've captured it very well, and it is important for the boys to be boys. Men should just be men.
Yeah.
And
Should they go to the kitchen and cook?
yes,
Yes.
men should just be men, and
Still go to the kitchen and cook?
yeah,
Yes.
We need
because
the
Okay.
machomas.
you see,
Yeah.
You know, when you say in the African context, when you say men should be men,
Yes.
You
it
see-
just means don't go to the kitchen, don't wash the
you
cooking.
see,
dishes.
No, it's
and
important.
traditionally, by the way, men really used to help even in the kitchen. It's only the way it was at a certain times which was out of bounds. There was a proper structure of when you're supposed to be there and what you're supposed to do. There was always that structure which people followed. It's only that what has happened is that we do not have a proper structure in our lives. People are just in between. You do not know whether you're moving forward or backward, but you're just there. You sit and watch TV the whole day and on your phone the whole day. And you're a young man of 18 years. You don't even know that if you ask what is the next thing in the world, you don't know. You're just on TikTok and Twitter, and the world is complete.
Yeah.
I think it has been interesting. We had deep conversations and also heated ones. Dr. C today, she was on fire. I don't know who wronged you today.
The finance insurance bill has wronged me.
So you are letting it out on Kashabi.
It's okay. It's okay. I think it has been real. It has been more dramatic in here. We love you, our viewers. Make a date with us every Sunday at 10 p.m. as we bring and unpack for you deep issues in the society. It's Let's Be Real.